Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knutson, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knutson.
Hi, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA, the NBC affiliate out in California. We're also on many different platforms with our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we got a very fun show, a special show. He is Tarleton State University's 16th president. He's also a great friend of mine, and I'm so honored to have him on my show, Dr. James Hurley. James, thanks so much for being on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. You're my favorite cowboy, so this is going to be fun. And you've been such a great friend from day one. You and your family have befriended Kendall and our family and you gave us that Texas welcome that we heard so much about. And so
thank you so much. That means a lot, man. You're surrounded by so many good cowboys. So I appreciate you saying that. And you got a dear family, and you're a blessing for Tarleton for sure. The whole family is. So let's start in the way back machine. So your grandparents, they were coal miners. So where was that? Where did that go on?
Yeah, great question. So I grew up I was born in Cincy, and my mom and dad were both from East Kentucky, what we call Central Appalachia. Okay. And so the coal industry had really fallen onto hard times. It was basically on the verge of collapse. And both of my granddads were coal miners, underground coal miners, et cetera. And so my dad was really forced to leave the area because my granddad did not want any of his sons really to be coal miners. And two of the three ended up being coal miners.
Oh, wow.
My dad was the lone family member that wasn't a coal miner. And so he left and went to Cincinnati seeking a job in the steel mill. Well, that also followed the coal market, and in those days in the United States, the met coal market really drove steel production. And so Cincinnati fell onto hard times, and my dad was really struggling for the first 4 or 5 years. And so when I was roughly the age of 4 or 5, my family moved back to East Kentucky. And so that I was reared in Cincinnati, but raised in East Kentucky.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And so it was a great place, to grow up. It was tough. I was, as you know, Scott, I'm a first generation poverty product. And so the 5th congressional district, that's the district in which I grew up, is among the 3 poorest congressional, or it was, I think it still is, but for many, many years, it was among the 3 poorest congressional districts in the United States. So it's tough. It was a tough place to grow up, but a great place to grow up. And I love being from Appalachia, and the people there are hardworking. They have the same values as Texans as we do. It's God, it's family, and it's everyone other than yourself first.
Absolutely.
Right. And that was instilled into me at a very young age. And both of my granddads died when I was young because of black lung and all the other things associated with underground coal mining. So yeah, it was tough.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, but it was such a tough upbringing, just not so much the circumstances,
right?
But look at the influence you have now. So when you were there and they said don't be a coal miner, what snapped in your head like, I'm going to be the first generation to graduate? Because there's a lot of people listening to us on KCAA or watching the podcast right now that are like, I'm a first generation. How did he do it? Because that was a pretty tough situation. What got your mind going like, hey, I'm going to be the first generation, much less a college president, a Division I president?
Right. Well, my grandmother had a tremendous amount of influence, and I just lost her last year. She lived until the age of 90. She was tough, and she was really kind of the glue of the family, and was feisty, and just did not have a lot of education because back then women in Appalachia didn't have educational opportunities and access, and so really if you made it up to about the 8th grade, you were doing pretty well, and high school was just a bonus in those days. And so she was an incredibly talented and smart lady, and she was a teacher's aide because she never had a college degree or no formal education, but she was one of the most beloved figures in our elementary school, and I grew up in a small town, very much like, some of the small towns across Texas that I've been blessed to visit. And she, I was an incredibly gifted student. And I had the ability, to play basketball. And so she said, you're going to use one of these tools, that God's blessed you with to get out of the coal country. We called it coal country. And also I had a fifth grade teacher, Irene Moore, and she was incredibly influential in my life. And she was the one that said, you have the ability to go above and beyond and really to do something special. And that those two ladies were really influential. And then my dad and my mom, they knew the value of education. They knew that the way to a better life was through public, formal education. And so as you know, Scott, I'm a big proponent of free public education because I think it's the great equalizer in society. And so without, public free education, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. And so I'm just really blessed. And I think it takes all of us rallying around, education, especially at the P12 level, at the higher ed level, to ensure that we're providing opportunity and access for all students.
Right. I love that so much. And they just become your friends, the administrators. Like we met because of Tarleton. And I consider you a close friend, and our families know each other, and it's just so much surrounds it. But it's also the culture, and I definitely want to get back to that. But the culture of Tarleton, it's such a close, tight knit, and I believe it's 14,000 students.
Yeah, we're almost 15,000. We'll eclipse 15,000 next year. Yeah,
it's growing, but the culture is so strong. So when you're talking to students or educators, because you have to hire them, how do you keep that? Because you want to respect the path of Tarleton,
right? But
you're growing in a way that's so quick, and the standards are so much higher, and being Division I. How do you do that?
Well, part of what makes Tarleton so special, and part of the reason that Kendall and I chose to come here, right? I mean, I had a great presidency, loved the board I was working for, loved the students and the faculty and staff that I was working alongside and serving there in East Tennessee. But when we visited the campus and when the consultants and the Texas A&M system started to recruit us, we made a private visit here. You know this story, Scott, but others don't. And when Kendall and we had another institution in Texas that was heavily pursuing us, and we felt like that we were kind of leaning in that direction until we visited here. And Kendall felt this just peace, and it was all about family. We wanted to raise our family in an atmosphere that embraced similar values, but also had a culture of loving and caring and nurturing and success. And it was here, and we could tell immediately when we met folks. And then when we met great alumni like you and so many thousands, teens of thousands of others, it's just the traditions of Tarleton are our DNA, and they always have to remain the DNA of what we do, no matter how much we grow, what we do moving forward. It's all about the Tarleton family, and it's ensuring that every student is successful. And that's the Tarleton way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's in Stephenville, Texas.
Yep.
And I should have said that at the beginning, but I got so excited talking.
Capital of the world. Cowboy capital of the world.
Absolutely. So biggest town next to you is what, Fort Worth?
We're about an hour south of Fort Worth.
So you're close to Cowboy Channel and RFD and Will Rogers and all those, Cowtown and also.
We love it.
Yeah. So let's talk Steve.
We have a good relationship with them. Don't forget, our emerging campus in Fort Worth is kind of that halfway point. So students that may not want to attend Tarleton in a traditional setting, they can go to Tarrant County or Weatherford College or Dallas College or Hill or any of the partners that are in that DFW Metroplex. They can get their associate's degree there and then transfer. It's a degree completer program, so they can transfer then to our Fort Worth campus and complete that bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degrees.
How great is that? You just set it up to make it easy. easy.
Yeah, well, the culture of Fort Worth, you nailed it. I mean, it's got a cowboy culture, even though it's the second or third fastest growing metropolitan city in the nation. I think we're now the 11th or 12th largest city, meaning Fort Worth. Their values and what they embrace really aligns with Tarleton. And so we're just aligning what we do culturally, taking it a little further north and aligning with those, those associate degree students.
Oh man, that's so cool. So you're an educator. So you grew up around the coal mines. So tell me, for someone that, you all of a sudden want to become an educator and then a president, can you take me through the process? Because there's a lot of people that don't know, you don't wake up one day saying, I want to be the president.
Right. Yeah.
How do you do that? What was the steps? Because I know it's a long, hard process.
It was. And so, 25 years now in education, and I love, higher ed.
Congratulations.
Higher ed is what I always aspired, to be. And in the fifth grade, I remember having a conversation with Irene and really kind of laying out my career path, knowing that I wanted to go, and I always wanted to be a teacher, a professor. And to say in fifth grade that I knew I wanted to be a president, that would be beyond an exaggeration. But I knew that I wanted to be in leadership in some capacity. I wanted to help others.
Right.
And then as I continued to work my way through high school and then college, garnering accounting and business and finance degrees, it was very important that I started aligning those degrees with kind of a career pathway. And it was probably in my junior year in college. I remember I was sitting outside the president's office, and outside the president's office at my alma mater, they had portraits of all of the past presidents. And I was the class vice president. I was sitting with the class president. And I said, someday I'm going to have my picture on this wall. I want to come back and be president. And I did. I was the first alumni to serve.
You called your shot, man. That's strong.
Well, that one was probably, and I think she kind of sniggered and said, yeah, whatever. But it was at that point in college, and I had just a tremendous president Hal Smith, that I adored, and he invested so much into me and really started building my leadership capacity, giving me leadership opportunities. And so that's when I started aligning my career pathway and my degree pathway, I should say, with my career pathway, and and I wanted to ensure that those two aligned. And I thought, someday I would like to be a university president. And that was roughly my, probably sophomore, junior year in college. But to get there, it took a lot of work. You had to start out as an instructor, and then an assistant professor, and then dean, and then I was a vice president. Then I became executive vice president, and then president. So It's definitely worked your way up. Yeah. So I didn't go from 0 to 60 in a second. It took some time and a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes. A lot of things went well, but I've told my sons, and I try to lead as a dad, but also students that I mentor here, you've got to have a plan, and you've got to have a plan B or a plan A. And if you have a plan B, don't talk about it.
Don't even
don't even think about it. If you have a plan B, file it away, but really stay laser focused on plan A. And if you fail toward that plan.
Absolutely. Love that. I love that so much. And I think it's so important for somebody, whether they're listening to us on the radio or watching the show, to know they can do it. You just got to have a plan, and then start executing the plan, and then have somebody around you that's done it or can give you some leadership. Get your mentor there.
Great.
Just what you did and what I try and do. That's what I did. I mean, I had somebody help me, and get there. I had a great family, but it can be done by a first generation. It doesn't really matter where you come from. That's where I get passionate. And when you get to go in a situation like a university, you're just surrounded by people that are with the same common goals.
Right. Well, we have so many that's a great point, Scott. We have so many programs now that are either at the federal or state or local level, local meaning colleges, universities, high schools, et cetera, that expose these students to college in ways that you and I never had the opportunity to experience, right? I mean, even first generation poverty students today, they come to Tarleton with an expectation of what their college experience should look like. Right. I remember showing up at my university on day one with no expectations because I didn't have a clue, right? I was very, very green. And times have changed so much. I mean, the programs that we're investing into education are working. And these students are definitely, they have a sense of at least what they might want to do and how to get there. It takes us obviously in a lot of work to ensure that we nurture the process and ensure that we establish progress for every student. But you're right. I mean, first generation students, you can do this. If I can become a university president at one of the fastest growing public universities in the nation, a first generation student can do anything they want to do. Absolutely. The resources are there. The opportunity in this country. We live in the greatest country in the world. This is the greatest country in the world. And I think selfishly, we're in the greatest state, right? And a lot of people say Texas is the greatest country.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot since I've been here.
A lot. No, I agree so much. Whether you're first generation and you're a student age, or if you went to work, you started a career in helping your family, you can always go back with all the satellites. It helps you ease back into that system.
Absolutely.
So you can. It's never too late.
Well, great point. So we received in the fall 1.5 million. And last week, you probably saw the announcement just a few days ago, we received another 1.5 million from the coordinating board because we did such a great job. It's called the Reskilling grant. So to your point, if a student started college and they had to stop out because life happens, and life happens for all of us, right? And certainly during COVID, it happened. It exacerbated the term, the definition of life happening. Those students can come back, and we have so many financial resources now that it's virtually free for those individuals. So,
and what was it called? What was it called?
It's called the Reskilling grant.
Reskilling grant. I could see people in my mind reaching for a pen to write that down. So
yeah, it's the Texas Reskilling grant, and of course, you have to be in Texas. And I don't know, other states are probably doing something very similar. I know, Scott, you have a huge following in Arizona and Utah and California and all these great states. I'm certain that those states are using the same federal funding to help get people across that finish line.
Right. Nothing better. There's nothing better than once they get to go back and accomplish that dream they always wanted to. It's so phenomenal.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knutson, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Today, we're going to talk about something I'm really passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. Those that don't, now you know I do. And we've been working on this for several months, and we wanted to get it just right. And we don't put our name on anything unless we feel 100% certain it's the best product we can get. And we've done it. I really believe we've done it. We've created a coffee line, 13 great flavors. I'm going to show you 3 of them. We have K-Cups in all 13 flavors. Here's a Jamaican Me Crazy. It's just a really great coffee. Everyone has great logos. It has a brand, the same brand that's on our horses, our trailers. You know that brand means something, and we wouldn't put it on here if it wasn't good coffee. We have whole bean. This is a great Honduran blend, and it's a whole bean coffee. We have whole bean in all 13 flavors. And then we have a ground coffee. This is a really great one. My wife and I really like this a lot, loved it. So we named it after our daughter, Hades Blend. Everyone has the packaging and the logo of the show, our brand, and I hope you like it. I really believe you will. And we're going to have more flavors coming out soon. We're going to have the pumpkin spices, and then we're going to go to peppermint after that. And please send us your suggestions as well. You can find it at cowboyentrepreneur.shop. Think coffee shop. Cowboyentrepreneur.shop. Thank you so much.
So when you're looking for staff and faculty, how do you do that? Because that's with everything you do, because your title is big. I mean, you got a lot to look at. How do you make sure every level of faculty, because it's just like a company, and we talk different companies and businesses, that's what it is. And everybody has to be on the same page.
Yeah, we're a large enterprise. We're growing. I mean, our comprehensive budget now is it's just, I think, north of 490 million. So we'll eclipse 500 million next year.
That's great.
And we have a few thousand employees, 15,000 students. One of the things that I learned very early from back to that word mentoring, that was essential for me. I surrounded myself with great mentors, presidents that did it at a very high level. And I watched how they navigate. They always surrounded themselves with smarter people and
always.
Better
See,
people.
for me, it's not that much of a struggle, but I try to do that too.
No, that's a pretty low bar for me. So I usually eclipse that pretty easy. But we surround, I always want to surround myself with great people.
Right.
And I really, I don't micromanage. I'm more, you know me, Scott, I'm more of a visionary. I'm looking at big projects that can move the needle and really advance and raise our institutional profile. And I desperately depend on the vice presidents and deans to do a great job. Hire great people, recruit great people. My concern is the same concern you have right now is the pipeline of individuals that are wanting, or the funnel, I should say, that wanting to enter higher ed is shrinking, because they're making so much more money in the private sector. Getting individuals to and invest their intellect and time and talent into education is becoming more challenging. You see it every day, the number of high school vacancies that go unfilled because principals and superintendents can't get enough young people to teach high school.
Right.
Well, that percolates up to higher ed. I mean,
makes sense.
It has a lagging of effect, if you will, or a trailing effect. And so we're trying to we started a program, Build Your Own and Grow Your Own. And we're taking our undergraduate and graduate students and the individuals or students, here that have indicated that they might want to pursue a career in higher ed. We're putting them into a teaching pipeline to create those faculty. So we're really recruiting from within, and we're trying to take our best and brightest Texans to keep them here, to spread, to share their intellect and their talent with the generation coming behind them.
See, I love that. It's such an entrepreneurial mindset. And you run in a company, but a university, but it's such an entrepreneurial. You got a problem, you're going to fix it by helping others, and they're going to help fix the problem. And I love that. That's
the greatest compliment I ever received was from someone that I really respect. And they are, they know higher ed better than most people, and certainly they know more than I'll ever, know, and they forgot more than I will ever learn. And he said, you are academically entrepreneurial. And to me, I think that's why I've been successful at fairly early age, is because you have to think outside the circle and outside the box. I've always said, why does it have to be a box?
Yeah,
absolutely. Think outside the circle, right? Yeah. I mean, but get outside the boundaries, and we've done that here at Tarleton. And I think because of the support of great alumni like yourself, we're able to do it a little faster than other institutions.
Well, I think the entrepreneurial mindset, I think you nailed it when you were telling me a story. You got the neatest house. It's right in the center of campus.
Yeah.
And you were cooking s'mores. And I'll let you tell the story. But this is 100% entrepreneurial. You figured out what was happening and you fixed it.
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing that story?
No, it's a great point. So we, Kendall and I are very, as Scott knows, the audience may not know, we are very student centric. We are passionate about student success. We love our students. We want to know every single student's hopes, dreams, aspirations. How can we help them be successful? Because their success is our success.
Right.
And so we planned an event, and it was early. It was like 6 p.m. normal time for all of us, right? Except 18 through 24-year-olds. And we thought, like, I don't know, 50 people, 25. No, it wasn't even 50. It's like 25 people. 25 students showed up, and we said, gosh, there's, this isn't going to work out. Students don't like us. Maybe this was a bad decision, transition, blah, blah, blah. And so we started looking at analytics, and I said, well, tell me what's the highest internet usage on campus. And it was from like 11 a.m. to 2 or 3, or 11 p.m. to 2 or 3 a.m. So students are mostly nocturnal. And so we said, okay, the next event, we're going to have s'mores, and we had s'mores and hot chocolate for our students. We're going to do it at midnight, and we're going to go from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. We called it Midnight S'mores with the President. We must have had 4,000 students show up at that event. So we figured out, here's my mantra for this sums up Dr. Hurley: low IQ, high energy. Right? So if it means you have to stay up really late to meet the students where they are, you do it. It takes a lot of effort and energy.
Well, you had a problem and you fixed it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, sorry to interrupt, but all of our events now, we have midnight tacos, as you know. We have midnight s'mores. We have study breaks for our students at midnight, and they show up. It's incredible.
It's incredible, but you figured it out. And who would have thought to look at that? So ingenious. But I know it's a big deal there, because everybody told me when I visited the campus last, asking about the s'mores. So it left an impact.
We do it. We love it. Yeah. And it's really blown up, and the kids love it. They look forward to it. In fact, here in the next couple of weeks, we will have kind of a welcome back spring, because we have a lot of students, Scott, as you know, here that at Tarleton that transfers at the midpoint. So right around, that December break, they will either transfer from another institution into Tarleton, or they've finished that associate's degree and they're ready to start their baccalaureate journey. And so we want those students to know, hey, this is who we are. This is tradition. And our students, they know, the returning students know that this is a great way to really show the new students to Tarleton, hey, this is the Tarleton way. This is the way we do things.
That's awesome. So the people around you are also helping share what Tarleton means.
Absolutely.
That's the best, man. That's the best.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
From enhanced educational opportunity to increased visibility, Tarleton State University is on the map and on the move. We're accomplishing more than we ever thought possible. More collaboration, more innovation, more expansion. Progress at Tarleton State University over the last academic year is undeniable. Everyone's taking notice. Together, we can accomplish the extraordinary.
So you've been an educator for 27 years. So what's your favorite memory?
Yeah, gosh, good question. So I guess I love all the memories of just being able to interact with students, and as a professor, as a dean, as a VP president. But I'll tell you a neat story as a student. Okay. One of my best friends still today, Dr. David Barnett. And during all of my master's, doctoral work, even at the undergrad level, I only remember making one B. And it was in finance, which I should do very well. It was public education, public higher education finance. And part of the issue wasn't the content; it was the ability. Back then, we didn't have this online learning. You had to actually go on the weekends to get. And I was climbing the ladder, and I was a vice president, and or I think at that time maybe a dean, and I can't remember, but I was really trying to. And I had a family, and lots of things going on, and it was hard to get there as often. And Dr. David Barnett, who just I adore, we're very close. He taught this finance class, and I remember as a student just always trying to spend extra time with him. And I was late on an assignment because I was traveling with the university I worked for at that time. And I remember staying after class and talking to him about it. And he said, listen, Dr. Hurley, or Mr. Hurley, I wasn't doctor yet. I was working on my doctorate. He said, you are stressing far more about this than I am. Like, I'm going to meet you where you are. And that was so profound. Like, that was a really life-changing moment for me. because I was very structured.
Right.
And I figured out in education, you got to meet students where they are.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
Dr. Barnett was the most difficult teacher I've ever had, but he's the guy now that I'm closest to, and he chaired my dissertation committee. And so we're just really close. But I remember he took time to invest in me, and quite honestly, that grade probably should have been a D or an F, because it was just I had zero time to work through it during that semester. But it was just awesome. And I think that's the lone B I've ever made. And
oh my goodness.
And he was, so it's very vivid. And tell me, what you love Tarleton. I mean, your family is synonymous here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the audience deserves to hear from you. What makes Tarleton so special?
Well, for me, the school, that was great, but it's going back, and it's like going back home. I love the universities. We're blessed to get to speak to a lot of them. Tarleton's home for me because that's where I went. And every time I go back now, it's like going to see family. And the staff is great. The faculty is just wonderful. They're so welcoming. I love the community. That's the fun part. I think it's when you step back away from it and you get in life and then you go back home, it changes your concept a little bit. And it makes you even appreciate more than what you had. It was great then, but it's even better to get to go back home and enjoy it from a different level.
And I tell our students all the time now, I say, hey, you better enjoy these days. It's tough now because you're in it. But I talk to so many alumni like yourself. Yeah. They often say, if I could just have one more semester or one more week or one more day as a Tarleton student, I'd give anything to come back. It's just, that's how special Tarleton State University really is.
Right. Absolutely. And as the improvements keep happening and the new stuff keeps happening, and the new arena, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But so you rode horses. You were good at you were great at basketball, but you rode horses growing up. And so what was that like? What was your first horseback ride? I mean, did somebody just put you on a horse, or?
Yeah, no. So, gosh, I may get in trouble for this one, but maybe we won't let her listen to this podcast.
Yeah, we won't tell anything.
I had a girlfriend in high school that wasn't my wife now, but which is probably the case for some of us, not all of us. And her family had horses, and we would often, when I was dating her, we would go to her family's ranch. And they in Kentucky, we didn't call them ranches; they were farms. In Texas, it's a ranch, and in Kentucky, it's a farm, because they would also raise a lot of fruits and vegetables and that type of stuff. But they would have horses and etc. So I remember we would ride quite often, and really loved. I've always had a love for horse and the kind of the cowboy way, if you will.
Right.
And it really took off, it started there. And then there were parts of my life that you were without it, because, I was in Louisville, Kentucky. Right. Well, there's not much, outside of the Derby. That's really the only horse ride that takes place in Louisville. And then, you get back to East Tennessee and you're able to ride and really, so for me, it's therapeutic. Even here today, I don't get to do it as much as I want. But for me, it's relaxing. And I'm not great, but I can hold my own. And we have so many great kids here that just love rodeo. They love the cowboy and cowgirl way. And we have a lot of students here that have horses, and they're not part of the rodeo program. So it's pretty easy to get plugged in. Kendall and I have said this summer we're going to get back to riding more here, and even trying to get plugged in with more folks that are within the region.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of offers for sure.
I'm not as good as you. I mean, you're awesome at it.
No. Good horses, man. They cover up a lot. So thank goodness for that.
That's true. That's well said.
So Division I. So you took Division I. So how does that work? So for a layman like me, does that all the sports go Division I? Do the students different conference? How does that work?
So the entire university, we reclassified from NCAA Division II status to NCAA Division I status, and that's for the entire university. So every single student, regardless if they're a student athlete or not, when they're a student and they graduate from Tarleton State, it is from an NCAA Division I institution. So that took place 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And so now our status is we're, SAC COC, that's our regional accreditation NCAA Division I institution. And so it definitely raised the profile and raised the bar. All sports, to answer your question, made the transition at the same time. Our football, we play in what's called FCS, Division I FCS football. And so next year we open up at TCU. The following year we're at Texas Tech. The following year I think we're at Baylor, and then we play Texas A&M. So it's just at a much higher scale. In basketball, you saw this year we played #1 Gonzaga, we played Michigan, we played Stanford, we played Texas A&M. It's just incredible what it's done in terms of raising the national profile.
Congratulations, that's a big deal for sure.
It was hard work.
It was
a lot.
Well,
yeah, and Vice President Reisman, he's vice president for intercollegiate athletics. He's been here for close to 32 years. He really had to carry a lot of the water, if you will, in terms of ensuring that we had all of the T's crossed and the I's dotted. And it was quite the process in terms of providing the documentation, lots of campus visits. Those campus visits during COVID were obviously diminished, more became virtual with the NCAA to ensure that we were ready and that we were financially stable. We had the facilities and the programs in place to do it really well.
Wow. And I think the campus development, because of the Division I, but it gets the alumni back involved. It gets the students to be leaving a legacy, and it gets alumni to come back and be part of a legacy change, you know, and I felt that, and I saw that when I was at the campus for sure. And there was a lot of excitement there for sure.
Yeah, real game changer for us.
Absolutely. So how does that work? So your Division I sports, so does the equestrian team, the rodeo team, does it take money out of the football, or is it's not one big pot, or is it all separate depending on?
Yeah, great question. So at Tarleton, we have one pot, if you will, and some would say it's a pot of silver, not a pot of gold, right? And it does run out. So we have one budget, one comprehensive university budget, and each of the sports and each of the organizations, they have an agency account. And so football has an agency account, rodeo has an account, equestrian, all of our organizations, teams, etc., band, they all have their own account, and we do lots of fundraising for each. We ensure we allocate funds. We think we're very fair. Football here athletically drives a lot. It is a major revenue generator for the institution. In fact, it is the largest revenue generator we have on the athletic side.
Wow.
And it funds a lot of other sports. Rodeo is a program that is really self-sufficient. They do a great job. Of course, we just received $1 million donation Friday night from the Doties to support the rodeo program. So we have donors that have a passion for band, for the performing arts, for rodeo, for football, whatever it may be. And they really align their resources with those programs to ensure that they're successful.
That's so wonderful. They get to be a part of it. From nowhere where they live, they're still a part of the facility, part of the school, but part of that department that really changed their life. That's exciting. And I know you got a new arena for the school. You want to talk about that a little bit? That's a cool story.
It's a real game changer for us.
It really is.
We consider ourselves Rodeo University. We've won more national championships than any other university, probably. And we're trying to verify a lot of records, because back, in certain days, records were, if you kept a record, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm guessing it's not even close, right? We won 28 national championships here in rodeo. And we're really, really excited about the future of rodeo. And so the legacy of the program, our facility really, it was good, but not great.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Down Under Ranch became available for purchase, we had a local donor, a local alumni that really stepped up and said, you know, I can purchase this property, and then we can take the next year to figure this out, and I'll lease it back to you, and then you will have, you know, sole ownership. But to really do it quickly, he had to buy it, and we cut this deal about 2 days and maybe 2.5 days before the auction.
Wow.
And on just, you know, faith and the fact that you know, my word was good, Chancellor's word was good, he went out and bought this for us. And Brad Allen and Brad Nancy are just incredible people, and we were able to make good on that purchase a couple months ago, and now we own the facility. But last year we were, quote unquote, a lease to own agreement from the Allens.
Right.
And that's about a $3 million facility that it would honestly cost us, Scott, 15-16 million easy to build today.
Right.
And you've been there, you know the facility.
Yeah.
It is just incredible. It is world class. It's the best in the nation. No rodeo program in the country has the ability to say we've got the best rodeo facility, but we've got the best rodeo arena in the country at the collegiate level.
Right. It's gorgeous. It really is. So going to the NFR, we were up there with you in Fort Worth, Vegas, and going to represent the kid or support the kids, which I love that so much, support the university, but see the kids. What's something kind of unique and different maybe about rodeo being in Fort Worth or maybe in Vegas?
Yeah, so for us, obviously proximity made it easier for Kendall and I to be there more and support. You know, if you look at the participants, half of the participants at the NFR are from Stephenville, Texas.
Yeah.
And more than half of those individuals from Stephenville are either current Tarleton students or, you know, Texans. They're alumni just like yourself.
Right.
And so for us, it was really about supporting our alumni and our students. For us, so the first NFR experience for us was in Fort Worth because everything COVID struck, and you know it was just incredible to go and watch you know, our competitors compete. Vegas had a different feel. You know, it felt a little more electric. It's sprawling, so you have all of these various venues that you can go and visit. The facility, I will say, in Dallas Fort Worth, it was better, right? Globe Life is exceptional. It's
incredible.
New.
They do such a great job.
It's beautiful. You know, I'm a little biased. I'd love for it to at least be on a rotated basis. You know, even years in Texas, odd years in you know, in Vegas, or something like that. I know, you know, that's probably logistically tough, but I thought that the great people of Texas and Sean Decker and the entire team up there that really had to flip this thing on overnight to even have the NFR here. They did a remarkable
It's
job.
phenomenal, his story. He was on our show, Sean was, and he was telling us, you know, he was just flying back. It was a handshake deal until a week or so before. And kind of like y'all's deal with the arena, you know, trust goes a long way. You shake someone's hands, it means something, man. Even on big deals, because even on a small deal, you shake a hand, it's just as important.
That's right.
And I agree, man. The facility was incredible. Just the passion of the fans. You know, the rodeo fans and the participants.
It's incredible to watch. We love it. We've met so many people. You know, we're one of the sponsors, and you know, of the NFR on a certain night. So people, it has exposed Tarleton in a way that individuals that support rodeo, but necessarily they don't support a university. They now realize how important Tarleton is to the performance of an NFR, because so many of those individuals are Texans. They're here. They're Tarleton grads or students, or they train, right? They train with their students. They train in their facility. And so we're the kind of the lifeline, I would say the lifeline of the future competitors, because a lot of these rodeo kids, they're here, right there at Tarleton, and they're training. You know, the Peyton Brays of the world. They're right here, and they're stars, and they're like sophomore, you know, walking campus one day and you know, chasing that gold buckle on a Saturday. So
it's cool.
Pretty incredible. We loved it. Kendall and I love it because the Cowboy way, it embraces what we teach our own children, and that's God, family, and everyone but yourself.
Yeah, I love it. I love that so much. You know, and being in Stephenville and in Tarleton, you know, what y'all did as a family, you jumped in the community, you know, and the whole family did. And that's a commitment when your whole family, it's not like you're just going to work and you come home and see the family. Y'all are with them all the time. Yeah. I think that sets a trend, though, you know, for some of the kids that definitely maybe didn't have that growing up, and the other ones that did, that miss it, they have that, you know, and it means a lot.
Yeah, it's important. I want to share something with you, Scott. I know we're running out of time, but speaking of rodeo, so one of my good friends, and he's an alum. I don't know if you can see this or not.
Yes.
You see the Texan symbol on there?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, and you see my JH6 brand he created for me. Hugh Edmondson, just one of the most beloved Texans. He has one of the largest collection of spurs in not only in the state but in the country. And you had those made for me, and that JH6, we sketched that out one night at an event, and so I said, if I want to own my own ranch someday, and when I do, I want my own brand. And he said, all right, we're going to make you a cattle brand. And I said, but I want my Tarleton logo on there too. He said, all right, we'll put both. But that's James Hurley, and then we have 6 in our family: Kendall, myself, and our 4 children. So we added the 6 on there. So
I love that. You know, I saw it on, I believe, Instagram. And for people that want a fun time, they need to follow you because you're doing stuff all the time and you're posting, and it's so much fun. So how can people follow you on Instagram? Whatnot?
Thank you. At Tarleton Prez. They can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I do not Facebook, so I want to be transparent. I have a team that manages Facebook and all the other accounts, but I personally post on Instagram and Twitter. And I do have an individual that helps monitor, and then he'll add content. But it's mostly predominantly my posts, my information, my feeds. So it's at Tarleton Prez, Prez. And it's fun. And we try to put students out there too, because they love, you know, taking a selfie with the president, and then when I post it, it just really makes their day, right? And so
it's so cool. It's so fun to follow you and see where you are and see those spurs. Then you see some students, and then you see something else going on, and it really kind of puts you in the mood there. What's going on? So love the social media, and I hope my follower, the people that watch our show and listen to Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, I know they're going to love it. They're going to start following because it is fun.
We post a lot of rodeo stuff. You know, Kendall and I we're at these, you know, Scott, we go to all these events. We go to performing arts events. We go to theatrical. We go when a band performs, we're there. When football team plays, we're there. Rodeo, we're there. And so we want to really highlight and expose the kids and our students. And that's what it's all about. So
yeah,
absolutely.
You do. And it's a lot of behind the scenes things too, that people normally wouldn't get to see, which is really cool. You know, it's really cool. So give us something for people that haven't been to Stephenville, Texas. So if I was coming in and never been there before, where would you take me to eat? What would we do?
Oh, that's easy. Hard 8.
Yeah, there you go.
Hard 8. I love Hard 8. In fact, I will. That will be dinner tonight. We have so many great ones, though. We've got a new restaurant that's just incredible. Chef Newton, he opened up a little place downtown that's incredible. But Hard 8 is one of those iconic Texas pit barbecue. A lot of the opposing teams that come and play us, they come in a night early, and they always go. They come in early, really? So they can go to Hard 8. So it's the best. The Decker family who owns Hard 8, they're incredible. But we have so many great venues, great eateries. Greer's on the corner. I love Phil. He's a great guy. You know, Cowboy. He does a great job. Of course, you know, Chef Newton's a Cowboy. He was on Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. That's how he kind of, ascended to all this fame. And he has folks from all over the state flying in here to eat one of his Gordon Ramsay steaks. So that's the thing about Stephenville. They're doing a great job. The community and the university are growing together. We got great leadership. The mayor and I are good friends. We talk often. The council, the city council here, they're really progressive. We're adding a lot of incredible venues and other amenities that faculty, staff, and students and visitors can enjoy when they come to town.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my daughter and I, I was asked to come up there. My daughter went with us to the Stephenville Police Department, and we got invited by the chief and some of the great officers there. And it was right after Blue Santa. And it was such an honor. I could not wait to do it. I got to meet him, got the tour. And he said something to me that I still remember, that there's a weekly call that he has and some city leaders have, and you were on, and how you're all working together in campus police and just to make the community better. And that just resonated with me, is how all these people that are so busy, they still find time to help the greater. It goes back to what you're saying. It goes back to what
we carve out 30 minutes and it's more now. I mean, once COVID has kind of subsided a bit here, we're still dealing with it, but not I think we've learned how to navigate COVID, right? And learn to live with it. And so we still have those calls, and it is incredible to have all the folks that can make decisions quickly. We're all on the same page here. We're not rowing in a different direction. We got a great state representative, great senator. It's just things are aligning really well.
Yeah, it just takes one to kind of go off center, but when you're working together so closely, it makes the whole thing. When you drive in, it's a perfect experience, and it's still that small town feel, but it's really great. So if you weren't a president of a major university on the ascendance, what would you do? What would make you happy at the end of the day if you weren't?
This one's easy. My family knows this. My passion, snow ski. I love to snow ski, and I don't get a lot of time to do it, but when I do, I'd love being outdoors. I like, cold doesn't bother me. I like seasons. I love, and so I would probably be, a ski bum, a ski instructor.
Well, I watch you on Instagram. That's as close as I want to get. But
I love it. Either that or I think someday Kendall and I will own a little ranch, and in education, you don't make a ton of money. That's the thing. You do it for passion and love. And, so our ranch will be much smaller than other ranches, but I could see us, getting into, owning some horses, owning some land, settling down, slowing down, because right now our life is just, as you know, it's a frantic pace on a good day.
Yeah.
At some point we will slow down.
Well, that's why I appreciate you being on the show. I got time for one more question, but that's why I appreciate just taking time, And so what's a normal, there's no normal day, but what's a day like for you? Because on Instagram, social media, you're going from dark to dark, and you got meetings and you're working with the city and the police department. What's a normal day for you?
Yeah. So I wake up at 5 o'clock every day, and I run. And so for me, I try to get 45 minutes to 50 minutes. It's never an hour, but somewhere between 45 and 50 minutes, I want to run. And I try to do that 5 to 6 days a week. And I don't listen to AirPods, whatever. Yeah. It's just me, and there's not, it's pretty quiet out there. And so that's my thinking time. And I'm thinking about, the course of the day, what do I want to accomplish? What major meetings do I have in front of me that I need to think about? If it's a day that I have a lot of speeches, I'll start thinking through, what the tone and tenor of the speech should be. And then I'm in the office. I don't get here. I'm not a 6 or 7 a.m. office guy, because I want to have breakfast with my family, make sure the kids get off to school. Kendall takes care of that. And then when they leave for school, roughly at 8 a.m., I'm here in the office. And then my typical day runs to about 11 or 12 at night. I only sleep about 4.5 to 5 hours. I've never required a lot of sleep. And so I'm typically, we're at events. And so Kendall's a great partner. I'm so blessed with just a wonderful wife that loves what we do and really embraces what we do. But it's typically a lot of meetings with my cabinet, student groups on campus, being in the A&M system, one of the largest systems in the country. That takes some time with projects that we're working on. Right. And then I always, if I'm on campus, I try to spend at least 30 minutes to an hour out on campus interacting with students and faculty and staff. Sometimes that's hard to do, but it's really important for me to try to do it. And then, we have games, we have donor dinners, we have events, typically every single night. Sundays, I try really hard to focus on family. And we try not to have events and things on Sunday. Sometimes it's hard, but we mostly are able to accomplish that. So my day is typically from about 5 a.m. to about 12:30ish, and then I'll sleep for a few hours and do it all over again.
Do it again. I love that so much. Thanks for sharing that. People see you and they don't know the hours that goes into, getting Tarleton where it is and making every student feel special.
Remember, high energy, low IQ.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, man, I appreciate you so much for being on the show. I know everybody's going to get a kick out of it, and they're going to follow you.
I hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
God, I appreciate you. I want to, and I don't say this because we're on here. You and your family have been so good. I open with that, but you embody what, as Tarleton Texans, we want to show and display to our students is no matter what path you take in life when you leave, you know that the gates are always open and you're always welcome home. But you also, the Texan way, the Tarleton Texan way is to pave a smoother path for those to follow. And you do that.
Thank you.
If your audience knew all the little things that you're doing for students here behind the scenes to give them opportunities and internships, and you would do anything to help a student and to help a young person be successful. That's what it's all about, is giving back to these students and young people and old people alike, right?
Absolutely.
We have individuals that are coming back in their 60s and 70s now to finish a degree.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
It's amazing.
That's because of you. They must follow you on Twitter and say, we got to go back to some education.
No. It's because of you. So thank you for all you do. And thanks for always bleeding purple.
Absolutely. Thank you and Kendall for everything. And we really do consider y'all good family friends as well as just, personal friends. So thank you so much for being on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.